Hey, Heather.
Hey, Steven.
You know what we should do?
What should we do?
You know what we should do?
Ooh, say it.
We should get into it!
Oh.
And that's Heather.
That's Steven.
Let's get into
it.
it.
Pew, 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 pew.
Our welcoming to Florida is the episode we're going to talk about
How
today.
we ended up in Orlando specifically, because Florida's a big state.
Florida is a big state.
It
and
is.
I kind of knew I was going to end up here. I don't know about you. I mean, I moved here as an adult, and you were
I was a child.
a child.
A literal
But
child.
Do you want to talk about how you ended up here?
Yes. Well, let's start with mayhaps. So let's talk about.
I totally avoided all of this. It's fine. We're going to edit this out.
We are. Okay. Steven, what is the best meal you've had this week?
The Peruvian chicken I just made for dinner as you were here earlier today. Thank you, HelloFresh. Sponsor us.
Hey, please. Okay, now you asked me what my best blank was of the week.
Heather,
Yes.
what was your best nail polish of the week? I don't know. Heather, what was your biggest DEI complaint of the week?
No! What's your favorite song at the moment? There we go.
Heather, what's your favorite type of shoe right now?
My Amazon glitter flats. They're my fave. They're so comfy. I can wear them to work. I can wear them to the strip club. I can wear them to Walmart.
So when you work at the strip club?
I do not work at the strip club as a dancer.
Oh,
I'm a den mom.
Oh, I was
I'm a
about to say
house
you
mom.
volunteer your time. There's a little bit of a difference.
Volunteer, yes. So let's get into a little bit about Orlando as a whole. So a lot of people want to move here because they are kind of disillusioned by this dream that we are this magical land of theme parks and all of these things. So when you moved to Orlando, what was the one thing kind of, you heard about it and you're like, oh, this is true. And something that happened where you're like, oh, this is not as glamorous as they make it out to be.
So I have a little bit of a different story than any of that. Okay, so I came to Florida, I can't remember what year, came with a family vacation.
Okay.
Family vacations in my house were like, hey, let's go somewhere else to fight and argue. So I remember going once upon a time to a resort in Kissimmee.
Of course, that's where all the that's where when I came to Florida for the first time when I was 3, we stayed in Kissimmee.
But did you call it Kissimmee like the rest of us redneck folks did?
Probably. And remember they used to say it was like the center of all the theme park stuff, and in reality it's not.
Oh, no.
They had whole commercials where it's like Kissimmee, stay in the heart of it. Anyone who lives in Orlando, you know damn well that Kissimmee is not in the middle of anything.
I didn't have cable, so I didn't get that same.
Kissimmee is like the outskirts of everything. I would say, if anything, SeaWorld is kind of like the center of all of the tourist attractions, because you've got like iDrive and Universal on one side, you've got Disney, and I almost said Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede, but that does not exist anymore. But no, Kissimmee is definitely not the middle like the commercials used to say.
No, but I remember going to I think my parents had booked a timeshare or a condo or something.
Ooh.
And I remember this is the first time I ever watched the original 13 Ghosts. I'll never forget it. I was watching it alone in a bedroom by myself. My older sister, my younger brother, I don't know where the hell they were. But then all of a sudden there was a on the door. And all of a sudden, my dad, of course, he's like super cautious, goes over there and there's like, hey, man, I'm looking for my bunny rabbits. And my dad's like, there's no rabbits here. And like, it was just like the awkward, like 30-minute ordeal about this guy going on about his bunny rabbits.
Did he ever find, why was he looking for a rabbit?
That's a great question. And I wish I had the answer.
He was a magician and
but
he lost
11-year-old Steven didn't have his sleuthing techniques that he has today.
He's like, I have 20 minutes to make it to my show on iDrive as a magician. I need to find my
Lolita,
rabbit.
Where are you? Come jump out of my hat.
So my first kind of exposure or like trip to Orlando before we moved here, I was 3 years old and we drove from Connecticut to Orlando.
That took like 24 hours.
I don't
Or wait,
remember.
24 days in Oregon Trail days? Like, is that where
we were in a Jeep Cherokee? I literally don't. The only thing I remember from this trip was there was a ladybug on the car window. And that's all I remember. I
For
don't
the whole
remember.
time?
Yep. I don't remember going to Disney. I don't
that
remember
like
the hotel. I just remember seeing a ladybug on the car window, like crawling down. And that's the only
It
thing.
survived from. Well, first of all, let's talk about how you removed this ladybug from its family in Connecticut and brought it down to Orlando.
No, we didn't.
You are partially responsible for this.
It was a
just so you
Florida
know.
ladybug. Listen.
Was it? Was it just looking for a cheap ride home?
Listen. All right. So let's get to the tea. What brought you to Orlando? Like, why did you make, I'm sounding like accusatory. Why did you do it? What made you decide to make the trek from Mississippi to Orlando?
Oh, God. Okay. Because I lived in Mississippi. Is that not enough? Okay.
A pause.
So let's be a little honest here. And I know my family will never listen to this. So I don't have to worry about like
Yeah.
censoring myself.
Spilling
But
tea.
I knew at a very young age that I did not belong in Mississippi.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah.
I never felt like I fit in. And I remember taking a band trip to Disney to do Magic Music Days. And I was in the 11th grade.
What instrument did you play?
I played the alto sax primarily.
Oh,
but
come on, Kenny G.
that was the soprano.
Oh, it was.
That was a soprano. But I also played tenor and bari. I
I'm so
also played a
sorry.
little bit of the clarinet, the mellophone, the bells, a little bit of trumpet, a little bit of clarinet, a little bit of flute.
Damn.
Basically anything. I was supposed to go to college to be a band director, and that didn't work out.
Yeah.
But so we came down here on a trip, and I was like, this place is great. Like, I mean, I was running around. I remember having my zip-off pants that were kind of see-through, and you remember those that they used to sell at Gadzooks, where you could turn them out like that.
We used
I
to
had
call
my-
them, oh my God, it was like easy access pants, EAP. Easy access pants.
To my knees, easy to my knees. Yes, baby, to my knees.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of like the ones that have the buttons on the side and just go
Oh no, that's like
easy access pants. Because
Yeah,
like,
no. Mine
yeah.
were like the ones that you could turn from pants to shorts.
Oh, with this. Okay, I remember those.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
like
Okay.
Gadzooks and all that kind of thing. And I was running around with like my Alf T-shirt and like all my like Hot Topic T-shirts and shit. And bitches were all happy everywhere we went. Like I can show you the photo album I have of like all these people like giving us desserts and like treating us like we're actually real people.
Where
And
did
it's
you
like,
stay?
oh fuck if I know. Some place that had a murderous like elevator that I thought every time I got into it, and like, this is the last time I'm in this elevator. This is the last time I see anything.
North International Drive. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Who knows? Probably, honestly, it was probably 192, knowing that like
Yeah.
the Mississippi budget and
Yep.
public school and all that.
Yep.
But then I was like, oh fuck, I need to move here. And so I told everybody, I was like, I'm moving to Florida after high school. And I was like, and of course, right after high school, I didn't move.
Oh.
But I went to the University of Southern Mississippi. I met a couple of people. One of them was a former college program person.
Oh.
Told me about the college program, and I was like, tell me again how this works out for me. And so I got all of my friends involved. Like,
Oh,
there
Lord.
was like probably 50 of us that were like, yeah, we're all going to Florida. Who was the only one that went?
You.
Who's the only one that had the balls to get up and go?
You were the only one working at Pecosville Cafe with a degree.
Bitch. No, I worked at Disney Quest.
Oh,
yes.
You got to be inside.
I got to
Okay.
be- I was like given a jacket in the middle of summer. I was like, oh God, all right. So I did the attractions and I
Yes.
did the hosting where they were like, welcome settlers to Buzz Lightyear's build, like Astro Blasters or whatever it is. And they eventually moved me over to teaching animation classes. Okay, guys, we're going to start with drawing a nice little circle. Just go ahead and
What?
take it. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that about me?
No, I never knew this.
I can draw at least 4 characters. And that stops there.
I learned something new today. Insert music from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
But so I use that as an excuse to go on a internship, knowing fully I would never go back.
Yeah.
So after that happened, I ended up getting a job at a neighboring theme park.
Yes.
And then
Splendid
22
China.
years later, I am obsessed with Splendid China.
Me too.
Like, I never paid to go in, but the amount of times I paid, like, or I didn't pay, but like walked in, I was like,
Remember they had the themed
Trying
Winn-
to
they had a
see?
themed Winn-Dixie there too.
no.
It
I
was
didn't
like
miss
a
that.
whole like old China whole shindig at Winn-Dixie by Splendid China. So I've been there to the Winn-Dixie, which is not there anymore. What is there now? It's, oh my gosh, Margaritaville Resort. Yeah.
Oh, that's the same place?
Yep.
Is
that's
that what
where
happened to Splendid China?
was, yeah. Yep, sure was. Splendid China. Look it up, friends.
Yeah.
Um,
And I always remember my favorite thing about Splendid China is like every time I looked over the counter, there was always somebody at a beverage cart looking over, like basically like, please come in and buy something because
Save me.
I can't.
Right? Oh my God. So your story of coming to Florida is a lot more, I almost said, I guess consensual is the word to use.
Oh, can I tell you? I'm sorry.
No,
Backtrack
you're good.
A little bit. My parents didn't believe me that I was moving to Florida. So, again, I went to the University of Southern Mississippi, which is in Hattiesburg, which is about an hour
yes.
away from where I was. And then I came home after undeclaring my major because I was like, music education is not it.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, well, you can come out here and you can go to like community college. She's like, no, thank you. I have a job. Like,
Chattahoochee Community
I have a
College.
place. I have a job. I have a place. And they're like, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yes,
And it
I
wasn't
do.
until I was moving with friends at the same time, and they rented a U-Haul, and they pulled up in front of the house. Let me tell you, I had a knockout, drag-out fight with my family about moving to Florida. It's like screaming and crying and
Was it like baddies?
oh, it was worse. It was worse. Have you ever disappointed your mom to her face and been like, I'm disappointing you and I'm leaving?
No, because
Yeah.
she'd kill me.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but I survived. Like, I survived.
I would be murdered in the street by my mom. Love you, Mom.
Hi, Cora.
Hi, Cora.
Thanks for watching.
Oh my gosh.
So, how
yeah.
did you end up here?
Oh Lord. Okay. So for those who don't know me, I grew up from the time I was birthed until I was birthed. Just came
She
out.
got spat out.
I was cut out of my mom because I was a fat ass baby. I was a C-section baby.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I
Was Glenn
fat.
also a C-section?
Yep, sure was.
What?
C-section
You
twins.
know,
Pew,
Cora
pew,
just
pew,
said, I don't
pew.
want to ruin downstairs. So,
Cut him out. Cut him out. No, we were both fat and stubborn. Not much has changed for me. So
you're not that stubborn.
The audacity.
I love you.
The audacity. Yeah, so my dad had always worked in television production, and an opportunity presented itself at what is now Hollywood Studios. It's MGM, or it was MGM when we moved down. And so I used to remember watching like Nickelodeon shows and seeing like the slime fountain at the end of the show where it's like, this was filmed in front of a live studio audience at Universal. I remember thinking, there is no way we will ever go to Universal. Like, we'll go to Disney because Disney is, everybody goes to Disney.
I didn't know Universal existed until I moved here.
Why? You didn't see it on Nickelodeon? It was at the end of the show.
Like, it was always like, oh, slime geysers. And I thought, oh, this was just some
Oh,
Hollywood
no,
thing.
I fully took it in. They said, this is filmed in front of a live studio audience, Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida.
I never trusted that.
So I remember watching it and I was like, that place looks so cool. I want to go. And I knew, I was like, we're a middle-class family. We'll probably never have a reason to go to Universal. So my dad got this job working on the back lot at Disney, and they told us we were moving to Orlando. And I was so upset because I was in 6th grade. I just found my groove. I was in chorus, and they were letting me sing like everyone else was singing like songs in foreign languages, and I was singing
Bitty bitty
No,
bum bum.
I was singing like expose songs at like concerts. So I had found a groove. Like, I had moved my friend circle. My friend circle was good for being a child. I had the best babysitting gig. Like, this family up the street was paying me like $7.50 an hour, which if you think about 1994, 95, inflate that, I was making bank as like a 12-year-old, and I'd ride my bike to the house, and the family I babysat for, the dad was a record executive in New York, because where I grew up in Connecticut, it was only about 30 minutes away from the city. And so he would commute in, and I would just be in the house while the mom was there, just like playing with the kids. And he would bring home like all these CDs and be like, take what you want. So I would it was like Columbia House.
Let's say, did he work?
It
for Columbia
was.
House?
So like, I found a groove and I was so happy. And I will never forget telling my band teacher, because I played clarinet for like a hot minute.
I was about to say for a day.
And my mom put me in summer lessons, and it wasn't to get better. It was to get me out of the house. And so I told my band teacher, Mr. Bellagamba, Jeff Bellagamba, if you're watching this, I hope you're well, sir. his name in Italian translates to beautiful legs, and we never let him forget about that. And I remember telling Mr. Bellagamba, I'm moving to Orlando in August, and this is like June. And he was like, no, you're not. You exaggerate things. Because that was always my thing, right? Instead of like formally diagnosing my anxiety, it was always like, oh, Heather's just exaggerating. So he thought I was lying, and then we up and moved to Florida. I remember at my going away party, we played chicken in the street. We laid on the street. Because it was quiet. It was
I
like
only know chicken being in the pool where you're
it was
on
like
somebody's
street. We called it
shoulders.
street chicken, and you would lay in the road until you saw a car coming, and then you get up. So looking at this now as a 41-year-old, like what the fuck was I thinking? Like absolutely not. But like as a kid, it was like a rush. We're like, get up before the car comes. Like mess.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up a mile before that car comes.
So I remember that, and we thought it was so fun. So anyway, we moved everything to Orlando. And so while we were trying to find a house, we were staying at the Yacht and Beach Club for like a week and a half. And it was,
What privilege.
I know, so privileged. And I think that's what led to my love for like the smell of luxury hotels, because the Yacht Club smells so good. And it's great.
Doesn't it always smell like waffle cone?
No, it always smells like kind of like that
It's a,
oceany
I
vibe.
was like, don't they have like a famous
Beaches and
ice-
Cream.
Yeah.
Yes, where you get
okay,
the
that's
kitchen
what I'm
sink.
thinking
Yes. So it was great, like the first 2 weeks, and then we moved into a house that had a pool. It was at the Bay Hill Golf Course. So when they would do the Bay Hill Invitational,
Oh, she got money.
we did. But my dad would invite his friends over, and they would all watch the golf thing. And my brother and I would like scream at the golfers, and like we left that house right as Tiger Woods was getting famous. But I remember seeing Tiger Woods once. But anyway, so long story short, that's how I ended up in Orlando. And I remember going, I started 7th grade in Orlando. And so I had to get used to a school that was built after, I think the middle school I went to was built in like 1942 in Connecticut.
Oh.
And then I come to Florida where like campus is open and there's palm trees and no one's in winter coats and school isn't canceled because of snow. It was such a culture shock for me. And I remember like signing up for chorus, and I saw the show choir, and I'm like, I have to be in show choir. Like I sing, I have to be in show choir. So I remember like singing in chorus, and the teacher's like, oh, Heather's new, she's gonna sing for us. And I sang like a Debbie Gibson song. And then I
Red
right?
Hot.
I do love that song. No, but I remember looking at the chorus teacher because I heard the chorus singing, and they were singing in unison. And I was like, does this chorus sing in harmony? Because in Connecticut, we sing in 3-part harmony, SATB.
And then she did a hair flip.
Right? No, but then, yeah, so we had to adapt to Florida. I remember like being in the swimming pool for Thanksgiving the first year we were here, and it is so odd to spend your life in like cold holidays and then to go to like a warm Thanksgiving, a Halloween where you don't have to put on a winter coat over your Lisa Simpson plastic costume.
Do you remember those? I love those costumes that were all like
The plastic
a plastic
mask.
sheet and a plastic mask.
Yes, and it's like thoroughly acceptable. There's Q. He's our mascot.
Well, say hi, Coupon.
Yeah, for those who
You
are
should.
listening and not watching, you should be watching. But Q is the unofficial podcast dog. We also have the unofficial podcast cat, Mama. But she refuses to get out of bed for less than $10,000.
She won't even talk to me. And it's upsetting.
Yes, we'll talk to her in the pets episode. But yes, so that's how I ended up in Orlando. And so I was really fortunate in that I got to see a lot of really weird and cool things in Orlando in the 90s. Like I remember Terror on Church Street, Mystery Funhouse, Skull Kingdom, I think. Yeah,
Skull Kingdom. That was on I Drive until not too long ago. Like, probably like
yes.
7 or 8 years ago.
Silver Springs, Cypress Gardens. There was another one we went to that closed. I can't remember, but I still got to see a lot of those kind of old Florida attractions kind of fading out and watching things. But like just the growth in Orlando is, I moved here in 95. It'll be 30 years next year.
I have a question.
Yes.
What was the biggest shock factor you saw when you moved here to Florida from Connecticut? Like, what was the thing you're like, oh my God?
School. By far it was school, because my middle school and elementary school were both built in the 40s. So they were inside, they were old. We had no heat because we were never in school
You're
long
in the
enough.
North. Like, it's,
Yeah.
that's not a thing.
Correct.
apparently.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was no heat and no air conditioning. My bad. There was heat. We did not freeze as children. There was no AC.
In 1824, Heather shivered
it
as
was-
she
it might as
took
well
her covered wagon to elementary school.
Well, it's like I was telling somebody about how. So this is the weirdest thing. So when I was in 5th grade, right before we moved to Orlando, we moved across town to another part of Norwalk where I grew up. And so the school we went to in West Norwalk, which is where we lived first, was an identical twin school to a school in East Norwalk, and that's the elementary school we were zoned to. So we literally did not have to learn the lay of the land because they built 2 of the same schools across town.
copy-paste.
Yep.
Whoa.
Literally, I'm talking, except for the playground, everything was the same. The gym / cafeteria, the offices, the 4th and 5th graders being this way. Like it literally
that's
was
wild.
right. And it was what was great because we didn't have to like learn the layout of a new school. So
my middle school is actually to this day still a historic site.
is it where General Custer surrendered?
It might have been. It might have been. But after Hurricane Katrina,
It's gone.
No, it's still there,
Oh,
but it's
shit.
untouched. Nobody can touch it because it is.
It's
that
a
historic.
natural, yeah,
and
natural,
it is like I want
national.
to say it's from 18 something.
Oh my God. So you beat me by far. I thought like the 40s and 50s was
Oh
old.
no,
but-
girl! Like we had ghost on ghost on ghost, and I'll never forget. This is I had a 4th grade class on the 2nd story,
Yes.
which second story was not a big thing growing up. Like
No.
if you had like a 2nd story, you
In a
had
house?
money.
Oh, yeah, no, we
I
never had-
don't.
yeah.
I can't remember a single friend growing up that had a 2nd story, but I'll never forget leaving the 4th grade and then falling down the stairs, and not only falling down the stairs, turning the corner as I fell down the stairs and kept falling down the stairs. Like I made the corner, rebound, and ended up all the way at the bottom.
That's like I was watching this past weekend a movie that could absolutely never ever ever be made in 2024, The Other Sister. And there was a scene when Carla was younger of this boy that she was playing with at her house and he was making fun of her and she pushed him down the stairs and I literally rewound it 5
It
times
was an owl.
because it was the funniest, most dramatic 90s rom-com. Like this kid went down the stairs and he was like body rolling down the stairs because they didn't want to hire a kid stunt double to fall down the stairs. So he like rolled and he did the same thing. He like turned a corner and I was like, we all know damn well that if there was a landing, they would stop. He
Totally
just kept
plausible.
going.
Totally plausible.
And then
you
he
get
just,
that
like, laid on the
wrong
floor.
landing and your legs go above your head and then that momentum takes you around the corner. You are done, sir. You are
can't.
done.
Oh my God.
I'm the same kid who decided to use a baseball bat
Yes.
as a destructive child that I was and hit it against a mini trampoline. Do you know what happens when that happens?
It bounces against your face.
It leaves you a nice black eye. So I was never the smartest kid or the luckiest
God.
kid. So
So ironically, I was talking at my place of employment about this the other day. So I almost said rest in peace, O.J. Simpson, but no, he can. What did somebody say the other day? Rest in. It was something hilarious. Anyway, O.J. Simpson died, and whenever I think about
Chloe's
him,
upset.
Chloe is very sad, y'all. Like we're gonna have an episode.
you're having an episode right now.
I am. We're gonna have an episode about conspiracy theories, and trust me, we're gonna visit OJ and Chloe. We're gonna put a pin in that.
That's the smallest part of that whole.
Oh, I can't wait.
conspiracy.
I can't wait. So the OJ Simpson trial always reminds me of kind of that big move. So we were packing up our house when the Bronco chase happened. And I remember we were all like packing boxes and my dad was like, holy shit, it's OJ. And I don't know why I moved the mic away from my face. Like there's a child in the room. Anyway, so we're all watching TV and OJ and we're all just like totally into it. And I remember hearing in an OJ documentary that the sales for pizza, like Domino's and Pizza Hut, like I don't think that record still has beaten to this day because people wanted to stay in and watch. They ordered all this pizza.
I'd be afraid to be
and we did
delivered by a
too.
Bronco.
So that happened while we were in Connecticut. And then the verdict happened in Florida. So it was like I had just started school because I think it was like August or whatever. And so I remember being in the cafeteria and it was such a race divide because all the black kids cheered and all the white kids didn't. And I had always kind of been, my dad, God rest his soul, always was convinced that OJ was not guilty. He's like, Nicole, there were drug dealers Nicole was dealing with. They murdered her. OJ, he's not innocent, or he's not guilty. And it's like the black man's allegiance to like athletes who are considered like gods in the community. And so me as a logical thinker, listen, I'm like Issa Rae. I'm always cheering for everybody black. However,
within reason,
because you look at the evidence and it's like, yeah, no. But anyway, I digress. I think about OJ Simpson whenever I think about moving down to Florida, because those huge things happened. And also kind of going back to being in Florida. So my dad was working for, he was working through a vendor on the back lot at Hollywood Studios, and then MGM. And so he had parking passes, so we could literally just drive onto the back lot of Hollywood Studios and just go in the park. And so my brother and I,
what privilege!
Listen, my brother and I, being the people we are,
you weren't
they
kicked
had. Oh, my dad.
I know you and your brother together.
My dad got warnings. So there used to be on the back lot, if y'all remember, like the Catastrophe Canyon tram tour and all that, there was a piece where you would go through like the offices, and there was the Flight of the Navigator spaceship that was empty. So my brother and I, in between tours, would hide in that spaceship because it's 1995. There's not going to be like security guards or anything. So we would hide in it, and it smelled like diaper. And it wasn't like the movie. We were like, oh, maybe we'll have like a system, and Max the computer and the little creature.
It was styrofoam.
Nope, it literally was just black. So we would hide it and like jump out at people, and we got in trouble for that. And then we also got in trouble because when the tram would come by the offices, we would go in one of the empty offices and like roll up the windows and pretend to be having a fight. So we would be like, whoosh, oh, there goes my phone. Whoosh, whoosh. We'd
Speaking
be like,
of fighting, she just hit my ankle.
I'm so sorry. So we would do like a whole fake fight, and people would be, so someone probably in like Wisconsin has video on their phone of these two black kids.
Look at this
fighting
show.
in an
It's so great. Oh my God, look at them.
We were a mess. But yeah, long story short, that's how I ended up in Orlando. I did temporarily relocate to LA in 2006. I was just having a moment, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be spontaneous. And I moved.
But do you know it worked out well for you? Why? You know why?
Because I learned how to stretch $10 for 6 weeks.
That too, and you also met Kelly Clarkson at a Walgreens.
I did. No, it was a Rite Aid. Thank you very much. Yes.
Same company, right?
Yeah, no. So I moved out to LA, and I wanted to be a singer. I moved out there with a very, very close friend of mine who is still, she's out in Vegas now and is a super successful YouTuber. Follow her, Tiffany Tynes. She's amazing. Love you, Tiff.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hey. She's the one who I played Uno with, Shaq. Yes. We'll have to go into that story
That's
another
a
day.
whole
That's
other
a whole
story.
other story.
Back from,
yes, right.
Was that Champagne Synopsis?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was
D-Stack.
D-Stack. So
An original between Heather and I.
Yes, the original podcast. So I moved out there with Tiffany and a couple other friends, and it was definitely an eye-opening experience because I moved out there without a job, and I thought I was going to be the next, like I thought I was going to be Black Kelly Clarkson. That did not work. But man, even that short time I was out there taught me a lot. It taught me how to budget. It taught me how to make a whole
survive,
right,
really,
how to make a whole meal from the dollar menu at like all of it. So I
PTSD. I was on the college program.
So anyway,
let me eat my beef hearts that they
beef
disguised
hearts,
as hamburger patties.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up in Orlando. So next up, what would you oh no, I take that back. So we are here in this room now. We've been friends for 20 years. Let's talk about how we met in Orlando. What is your I know we probably have two complete different recollections. So you go first. How did we listen, kids, this is how mom and dad met. This is how mom and dad met. This is how I met your mother.
This is how being a heavy drinker affects you. I'm fairly certain we met doing one of Ron's shows at Universal.
Yes.
And then it went on from there, and I'll never forget. I don't want to say it because of the place.
Yes.
Of where we worked at the time or may not work now.
Yes.
But you were a particular character.
Yes.
That.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She had like a little bit of hood rat edge, and I thought it was
she
really
sure
cool.
did.
But then, like, we kind of fell apart for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then rediscovered ourselves when we started dancing at a drag brunch together.
Sure did.
And then it's like we honestly picked up like nothing had ever left off.
Nothing. Okay, so your story is pretty much the same as mine. Like, we met doing the shows. We were in a cast together that that performed at Theater Downtown. May it rest in peace. Did you
Not
see that
as part of Theater Downtown, but an outside show coming in.
Yes,
So
we were like a
that's-
vendor essentially.
Yeah.
And so we met doing the show, which was kind of like a Broadway review. And it was just like we were in like a whiz number together.
Can you ease on down the road?
We'll have to
Guess which one I was.
We'll have to share that picture on the social medias.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so we literally, that's how it was. And then I did move to California after that. I came back and then we were kind of like, I think we'd like maybe run into each other like every now and then, like random things. And then a lovely drag brunch, the power of drag, y'all.
A formerly known lovely
Yes.
drag brunch.
Yes, formerly known. And that's how we reconnected. And I often say that Steven and I are twin flames.
We are. We're the same
And-
person. We look exactly the same. We're twins.
Yes, we look alike.
She
Thank you.
has eyebrows and I don't have. It's the only difference. It was the only difference.
My eyebrows are artificially made though. So.
Mine usually are too.
Okay, so our lovely city. Look at us. We're 31 minutes. Like, that is amazing. I thought we were at like an hour. Okay, so what would you say are the 3 best things about Orlando outside of the obvious like touristy stuff? And best things, that could be experiences, it could be restaurants, it could be bars, it could be a store, whatever. What do you think are the 3 best things about Orlando that are outside of the tourist area?
So we're not talking about places per se, right?
I mean, you could.
Well, I don't like. I feel like the diversity is one of the things I like, is because not only do we have like every flavor here, but we also have every food flavor here, and I love going to a good restaurant that I've never went to before and can taste the goodness. I'm a formerly known picky eater.
I know,
and
you're good. You're good
I
now.
got HelloFresh a little over a year ago, and bitch, I am not stepping back. I am trying all the things within reason. I still won't eat meat off a bone, and I still won't eat fish. But like flavors and like Korean barbecue is one of my favorite now.
Ooh.
Ramen is one of my favorites now. Like jerk chicken. There's so many good things. I had oxtail once, and I was like, oh fuck.
Wait.
this is good.
Hawktail?
Oxtail,
Oh,
not a bird tail.
I thought you said oxtail. Or,
No,
I'm sorry, hawktail. I was like,
Oxtail.
that's literally just feather and bone, friend. There ain't no meat.
It's my Happy Meal from McDonald's.
Oh my god, a hawktail.
Ugh. Another thing I like about Orlando is.
Yes.
I think I'm done. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think it's honestly it'd have to be the people. Like honestly, there's a million different types of people here, and I've got to meet so many different interesting people over the years.
Yes.
I'm still in contact with some of the people that I did college program with over
Yeah.
22 years ago.
Mhm.
I will never take that back. Like it's just amazing. And then the third thing that I like about Orlando most is that honestly it was a space that gave me my current career without me knowing what it was and what it was going to be, and never had thought beforehand that like, oh fuck, I can do this.
Yes.
I'm like, for those at home.
Is that microphone working, the top one?
Yeah.
Is that you or me?
You're the top.
La la. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Action. I saw it being quiet. I was like, oh no.
No. So I moved here, got the college program,
Yes.
all that fun stuff, and then I worked for a place, and then a corporate place hired me from that place, and then I went back and forth for a while. But long story short, like I discovered the entertainment world, and I was like, oh god, I want to do that. And here I am 22 years later. I am thriving in that business, not only as a performer, but the partial owner of a performing arts center.
Ooh.
The
Dollhouse
my
on
own
OBT.
plays, directing my own plays, like all kinds of shit, and like
Dancers
that would
Royale.
have never would have happened. And the funny thing is like, okay, so where I grew up,
Yes.
in southern Mississippi in Bay St. Louis, literally on the opposite side of my fence was a community theater. Like those motherfuckers used to park in front of my house all the time and pissed me off constantly. And I never once thought about going on stage until after I moved here.
That is wild to me. And I always forget that because I'll mention something about being a theater kid because I was. And you always mention, you're like, I was not a theater kid. And it feels to me because you have theater kid energy. Like we would have absolutely been friends in high school, like without a doubt. I'm trying to think like my 3 favorite things about Orlando. Kind of stealing from you, the culinary scene. Our culinary scene is so deep now, and it used to not really. I mean, like kinda, because it's obviously
it's no longer TGI Fridays and Olive Gardens everywhere. Now we have a bunch of like small businesses that have just grown and blossomed, and
I can't even remember the last time I went to like a chain like shit restaurant, like a TGI Fridays or an Applebee's, because there's so many great.
Last time we went to Applebee's was with Ginger for happy
sure
hour.
was. Listen, Ginger Minge, we love you, dear friend of the podcast, and
Make better choices.
we love going to Applebee's with Ginger. Like I will only go to Applebee's for Ginger, and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, like my own husband cannot drag me to Applebee's. But it's because there's so many awesome local spots that don't charge you an arm and a leg. Like total shout out to Ollie's on Edgewater Drive in College Park. That is like our go-to for a night where like we don't want to cook. It's literally almost right down the street, and you can get like delicious, strong, potent drinks and food and not spend like more than like $40.
Oh yeah.
And so I'd rather give back to the community and do that and have like a scratch meal versus like, all right, let's just go to, oh my God, the peacocks are so loud.
Yeah.
Let's go to Chili's,
Olive
which we need to do an
Chili's.
entire episode on Chili's.
That is
I'm
going to
put that in my phone right now. By the way, if you have an idea for us, let us know, because this podcast essentially, so we do kind of stick to an outline, but for the most part, we're just picking random topics, y'all.
Yeah, this is day 1, y'all. Like,
Day 1. Culinary scene is the bomb. The second thing I would say I love the most about Orlando is the I would say in specific the drag scene. Like we've got an incredible drag scene in Orlando, and there are so many amazing local queens that you literally can just go see any week, any day. It's not like a Rue Girl where it's a whole production coming into town. Not saying anything against
but
Rue
at the
Girls.
same time, a lot of these girls have productions here.
Yes. So our
Mr. Miss Adrian,
Mr.
I'm
Miss
talking about
Adrian,
you.
Mikey Meeks, Axel Andrews, Roxy Andrews,
Kaya Adonis.
Gidget Galore, Kaya Adonis, Tora Hyman, Divine Grace.
Tora's not here
obviously
anymore.
Ginger Minch. Tora
Tora
goes
moved to
back and
New
forth.
York,
No,
or,
Tora,
to
New Orleans. Go back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'll Tess Oram, Miss Tree Hugga.
There's so many.
There's so
Darcel
many talented China Cravens, Mimi Lie, Angel Sheridan, Darcel Stevens. There's so many incredible local queens
Lock.
in Orlando.
April
Oh
Fresh.
my God, April fucking fresh. Yes. Oh my
Addison
gosh.
Taylor. both
Daisy
owners
Dior.
of
Oh my gosh, there's
Miss
so
Comedy
many.
Queen.
So many.
So hold on,
Venus
hold on.
Envy too. Venus Envy is an incredible AFAB queen. If you don't know who Venus Envy is,
Those makeup skills
she's gonna
are
blow up. So
stupid.
yeah, find Venus. Venus, we love you. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
What was your first interaction with a drag queen?
It was when I know this to a T. It was when I lived very briefly in LA, and it was Jackie Beat, and
No
she I was so desperate for money. I went to like this television taping, and they were giving you like $50 to like dance in the background. I can't remember what the show was called. The Cut. I think it was The Cut. It was kind of like Soul Train but with pop music, so we would like dance to the music and the artist would be there. So Jackie Beat was in this band. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it was called. Really Rich Italian Satanist. That was the song. Anyway, so Jackie Beat was the artist, and that was the first time I really saw a drag queen like live and in color. And granted, Supermodel by RuPaul, when it came out in 1993, was my favorite song. I was
Supermodel.
obsessed with Supermodel. I knew every single word. Like
There's
I
only
would
like 7.
Cindy,
a twirl.
I can feel it. I was obsessed with that song. Obsessed. I played it over and over again and like catwalk in my room. So I knew RuPaul was a drag queen, but I never remembered thinking that it was weird. I was just like, that's
Right.
RuPaul. Like, she's awesome. She's great. But that was, so RuPaul's my first exposure to drag. And then Jackie Beat was the first drag queen I ever saw, which was in 2006. And now my life is full of drag queens, and I could not be fucking happier. It's so much richer.
Same.
Drag is not a crime. Anyway, my third thing I love the most about Orlando, I would say it's versatility, meaning that you could go, bless you, Q. You can go to like downtown Orlando, and it's very metropolitan, it's very urban, and then you can drive like 15 minutes down I-4 and be at like Turkey Lake Park, where it's beautiful nature, true Florida at its
25
finest.
minutes away from everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I do love, the beach isn't too far away. So I love that we're not super far from like a lot of these really cool little non-touristy things. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not live in Orlando, I mean, anyone who lives in a big city, right? So like if you live in New York City, you're not going to be like, hey guys, let's hang out and go to Times Square.
Yeah, let's go to the Olive Garden, Times Square.
Yeah, let's go
take a picture with Moopy the Muppet.
Let's go hang out at the Empire State Building. No, it's like I always say that International Drive and Disney is, if I meet you at either one of those places, that means that you are a very dear person to my heart, because I will tell you what, going to either of those, especially on the weekends,
Oh God, no.
I'm not even kidding, I would take California traffic over iDrive traffic, because iDrive traffic, listen, we love our tourists. Thank you.
iDrive traffic is like a million different people from a million different places not knowing what the fuck a stop sign means.
Nope. Not at all. So, yeah, those are my three things. So, I was going to talk about the worst things, but I feel like we've talked about that quite a bit, like the drivers, the crowds. What would you say? You kind of talked about this earlier, but maybe something else. What is one thing you miss in Orlando that's not here anymore?
Okay, that is hard. That is very hard, because there has been a lot of change over the past 22 years. I would say one of the things I miss most,
I wonder if we have the same one.
no, it's definitely not, is when I worked at Disney Quest in the college program 22 years ago, there was a cheesecake factory on the top floor, and every day I would go get rolls and red sauce as my lunch, and I would just eat bread and red sauce every fucking day, and it was goddamn delicious, and I miss it to this day, and I still haven't, like, it's a terrible addiction to red sauce.
I don't we were talking about this the other night at my mom's house for dinner, about how like our food tastes have evolved since we were kids, because my nephew, Mikey, who, dear new listeners, you're going to hear about this child a lot, because he's the light of my life and he's my nephew, so I can give him back at the end of the day. Mikey is not picky at all. He loves
Really?
He is not. He
Oh my
eats
God.
hot sauce. He is a wild eater for an 8-year-old.
Can I tell you, my nephew, who's graduating from high school right now,
Blech.
can barely eat a taco with just meat and cheese.
Oh my God, no. Mikey he loves Chipotle, and he will like mix everything up like an old man. So So we were talking about like food stuff, and I was saying that one of my favorite comfort meals, which stems from the fact that I didn't eat macaroni and cheese or spaghetti with sauce as a kid. I didn't like tomato sauce. I did not like macaroni and cheese.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I
was a butter noodles kid. I was one of those.
That's not so weird. That's not so weird. Because growing up, I was not necessarily, I was a Chef Boyardee kid. Where
Yeah.
I had like the Sonic the Hedgehogs.
Ew.
I had the Mario Brothers. And it was all just the same like red sauce and random noodles. The Garfields had
so
little
gross.
meatballs in it. And I'd have that shit every day and I loved it.
I kid you not. If like all food was eradicated from the planet at this moment, if you gave me a choice between the styrofoam on this floor.
Don't judge me. I was making a prop for a drag queen and there's still shit on my floor.
If you gave me a choice between the styrofoam and Chef Boyardee from a can, it wouldn't even take like instantly. I'm just going to start licking the floor. I can't do pasta out of a can. Like it freaks me
You know
out.
what freaks me out? Meat in a can. Why is meat in a can?
Anything. I can't do like, I understand that there are probably restaurants that I frequent that probably pull things out of a can.
No,
But it's
not
fine.
meat.
But exactly, it's fine.
Not
Like
meat.
it'll be like vegetables, out of sight, out of mind. Great, pop off. But like anything that comes in a can, and please, universe, I am not trying to say that there's anything wrong with canned food. Bless it. But for me, anything in a can, meat, vegetables, soup, pasta, that is the most foul. Bleh.
The only thing that should come from a can is like a beer or a White Claw.
Correct. Thank you.
Um,
But yeah, so we were talking about foods and stuff. And so my mom, when I was a kid, when everyone else would have mac and cheese, she would make me a special dish that was macaroni noodles, mozzarella cheese, and ground beef with oregano.
oh, that sounds good.
It is still to this day, I make it all the time. Like if it's just me eating, it is the best, just basic comfort food. Like
It
no
sounds like
sauce.
dirty rice.
Yeah, like that is my jam. So you miss your breadsticks. I would say for me, what is the one thing I miss the most
I miss
about
less
Orlando?
traffic.
Yeah, oh my god.
What was one of the scariest things that when you moved to Florida, you were like, oh shit, this is different?
Besides school, because I've already mentioned school, I would say this sounds really kind of random and basic, but the weather in general.
Oh.
Because I had grown up with 4 very distinct seasons. It's like
Now you
spring
have
is mild,
1.5.
summer is kind of hot, fall is cooler, winter is cold. In Florida, it's like
Hot and less hot.
correct. Well, no, because this year we got cold. So like in January or February, never December. January, February, we might dip into like the low 30s and 40s, and the news freaks out and tells everyone to move their plants inside, and it's like, y'all, it's fine. So we'll have like a week maybe on and off of really cold days, and then it's mild, and then like today and the rest of this week apparently it's hot as donkey balls.
Don't remind me.
I hate it.
Don't remind
And I complain about it knowing fully well that I am an adult that can sell my house and move.
No, fuck that.
No, oh God, no, I'm gonna die in my house. It's gonna be like Poltergeist.
You don't have a
Throw
pool.
me in the fireplace. Listen, with this house, you might have the ashes of the last owner, but
I will say one of the scariest things for me when I first moved here. Now, granted, I moved here as an 18-year-old, but
Yes.
I have a lot of experience of driving in Louisiana and New Orleans.
Mhm.
I was terrified of buses, and I'm like, they're just going to run me over. Why do I have to change lanes so much? I was just terrified for like the first 6 months that I lived here. I'm like, oh, what am I?
See, I feel like I have kind of more of a tolerance to bad driving
Because you've ridden around New York.
I was going to say New York City. It's always funny going with someone who's never been because you watch their face in a taxi and they're like, and me, I'm just sitting there on my phone. I'm like, we're not going to die. And if we do, like, it's meant to be. Like,
Feel seen.
play the boys men. But I totally forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about scary.
weirdest-
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And so that was scary for you.
Oh, God, it was terrifying. Are you kidding me? I was like, I guess I'm just going to live in this right lane for the rest of my life
Yes.
here. And I will patiently wait for every bus to pause so I can make a right turn. And I will be late to work for 3 days. It's
Driving does stress me out. That's why if I ever won the lottery, I would never drive again. I would have a driver 24/7. It's why I don't understand why celebrities get DUIs, because
I want my freedom. I want my person. I don't want.
Yeah, but
people
it's like
around. But also,
these celebrities who like go to bars with all this money.
see, no, it was different if I'm going like to a bar or whatnot. Be
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, Jeffrey picked me up so I don't make an ass of myself.
But they still get in
again."
their cars.
But if I was just a regular person, a regular celebrity, like I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to the Tesco by myself. Like it's fine. Do we have Tesco here?
No, Tesco's in the UK.
Oh.
No, I would not go shopping. Like, I'm paying somebody to shop for me. I already, as it is, Jason, my husband, for those who don't know, the other day I did like a double order. I did Walmart and then I did Instacart because I needed things that only Publix had. And Jason was like, have you ever stopped to think that like we're literally now paying somebody to get groceries for us? And I was like, yo, damn, that is privilege. But
That's when you go, I have people for that.
listen,
Have your people call my people and we'll find out which has the freshest oregano.
I give so much of my money to Instacart and Walmart grocery delivery. And Walmart grocery delivery, if you need like a box of tissues, they will deliver it to your house for free the same day. Like just a box of tissues.
So the Walmart across around the corner from my house, they're
Yeah.
like under construction right now.
Oh.
Like they're remodeling the whole thing. So they have like a free like delivery, endless, do whatever you want. We'll give it to you
Oh.
free just for inconveniencing you.
Okay.
Because I went in there one time, I was like, okay, none of the shit I want is in the same spot. Like, what the fuck just happened?
It's like a free for all.
You know, oh god, yeah, it's like chaos. I was like, I just want a paintbrush. Where the fuck do
Right.
I find it now?
Well, hot tip: if you go to like Super Walmart, Neighborhood Market has it sometimes too. Typically, in like the right back corner of the store, they have a clearance.
Oh, ours is next to the checkout lane. It's
You can
like
find
one
some
aisle.
good shit in there
Oh, yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, I love
Like,
the clearance.
I always go after a holiday because all the Starbucks K-Cups will be like 75% off. And I'm like, even though it's June, we're going to drink some Christmas gingerbread.
Did you? I love gingerbread.
I do
Did you see my post about where I found the mystery boxes from Michael's?
Yes.
I ended up getting over $2,800 worth of Christmas decorations for less than $45.
I'm telling you, and we're totally going off on a tangent, and that's fine.
'Cause that's what we do here in
No,
Orlando.
We haven't even hit an hour yet. Strap in. We're going to go for 3.
Oh my God. No, maybe we should cut this off soon.
Never.
We still have to record the theme song.
I do. Oh my God. I do love a good, like, juicy sale. And remember when Lucky's Market went out of business?
I'm still mourning.
Oh my God. I think about Lucky's Market. I kid you not, like
They popped
once
up
a day.
and popped off on the same day. They were like, and bye.
Lucky's Market is also where I almost died one time. And I was talking to my mom about this the other day, how I went to Lucky's Market one time because I used to get my nails done like down the street from there. And for those who don't know, Lucky's Market is kind of like Sprouts, I guess.
It's like a grocery store where you can
it's-
have a beer and
yeah.
shop around and things are freshish.
I wouldn't say Whole Foods. I would say, yeah, like Fresh Market's the closest
Yeah.
thing to it. So you could drink while you shopped. And so I got like my little glass of Pinot Grigio.
She turned down for what?
No, I did not, because I ended up choking on my wine in one of the aisles and I could not put air into my body. So I'm literally like, and I didn't want to make a spectacle because I knew they were going to like call an ambulance or like freak out. And because I am such I don't like to show emotion, much like Steven. And I was like,
Only
I
if
don't
you
want
pay for
people
it.
to think I'm a little bitch. But meanwhile, I can't breathe. And luckily, like the air finally came to me, but I will never forget. I saw my life flash before my eyes and I was like, well, this is how I'm going to die, drinking wine in a Lucky's Market. And if that's the way I go out,
She's so lucky.
que sera, sera.
She's a star, but she choke on the early bar.
thinking. We're available for weddings. Thank you.
Or divorces.
Yes. Next episode, Steven,
And Heather.
get
into
into conspiracy theories. Ooh. Jet fuel can't melt steel.
John Benet Ramsey.
We're gonna get into all of it, friends. But thank you for listening to our first ever new podcast. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. Daddy loves you. Do you remember that Will Smith version?
Yes. So until next time, my friends.
Daddy loves you. Daddy
This
loves
is-
you.
Steven
And Heather.
and Coupon signing out.
Bye.
Bye.
Get into.
Oh, now you want to be quiet? Nothing? Nothing?
Just